Today, we're going to talk about Provision ISR's unique collaboration with Checkpoint Cybersecurity. By combining our CCTV technology with enterprise-grade cyber protection, we believe Provision ISR delivers one of the most secure CCTV solutions available on the market today.
Just to understand why it's so important. Across industries, cyber attacks on IoT devices are on the rise. You don't need to focus on the exact numbers or industry here. The key takeaway is the trend. Anything connected to a network is at risk. IoT isn't just CCTV, it's access control systems, smart appliances, basically anything online. Attackers don't care what the device does. They see it as an entry point into your network. This rising threat is exactly why cybersecurity is a must-to-have for IoT devices, and why Provision ISR's partnership with Checkpoint matters.
Why are security cameras a preferred target for cyber attackers? They exist in every organization, business, and home. Essentially, they are small computers with an operating system and network connectivity. Unlike regular computers, most users do not keep their firmware up to date, leaving vulnerabilities unpatched. Cameras are designed for always-on internet access by default, enabling features like analytics or remote access. Combined with their ability to capture audio and video, this makes them highly attractive targets for attackers.
It's important for us to understand who the attackers are and why they're targeting us. The first group is young hackers. They actively seek out vulnerabilities, probing products for any weaknesses they can exploit or manipulate. Their main motivation is boosting their online reputation, which in the cyber world can translate into better career opportunities. For example, on an online forum, a hacker with the nickname God gave away on a free Friday 29 Hikvision IP port usernames and passwords for anyone to use, motivated solely by the desire to boost his online reputation. The second group is cybercriminals, organized crime groups motivated by financial gain. They steal sensitive information, deploy ransomware, and extort their victims. For example, a small clinic could have patient records encrypted, preventing staff from accessing medical files and pressuring the clinic to pay a ransom to continue treating patients. The total impact of cybercriminality, including financial losses from direct theft or extortion, business disruption, and the consequences of data breaches, far surpasses the global annual revenue of illegal drug trafficking. The third group is industrial or state-sponsored espionage actors. Take a few examples. Russia, not just on the battlefield, is carrying out cyber attacks on Ukraine's critical infrastructure like electricity and water systems. Iran is targeting key infrastructure, gathering intelligence, or pressuring Israel, and to be fair, Israel does the same in return. China is well known for its espionage activities. In 2020, backdoors were discovered in cameras made by Chinese government-linked manufacturers and their OEMs, which could be used for spying without anyone's knowledge. This discovery directly led to the NDAA compliance requirements in 2020, prompting the U.S. to ban certain security brands tied to the Chinese government due to clear security risks. There's plenty of documentation on this. Articles and reports are all over the internet, from the US to Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and beyond. Most countries now enforce cybersecurity regulations, including specific bans on certain brands to address these threats. How did this partnership start? Provision ISR has always maintained strong cybersecurity practices, but our main focus is high-quality CCTV analytics, VMS software, video apps, etc. Recognizing the growing cyber threat landscape, we partnered with Checkpoint, a global leader in cybersecurity solutions. For those unfamiliar, here's a brief overview of who they are. Checkpoint is a global cybersecurity leader, specializing in threat prevention and protecting networks, cloud environments, and endpoints with firewalls, intrusion prevention, and threat intelligence. Trusted by organizations worldwide to safeguard critical data and ensure business continuity, they're a publicly traded Fortune 500 company on NASDAQ, generating over $2.6 billion in revenue in 2025.
Before I explain Provision ISR's solution and its advantages over others, I'd like to take you into the world of cybersecurity, showing how vulnerabilities can merge, get fixed, but can also be exploited for malicious purposes. In the cyber world, not all hackers are the same. White hats are the good guys, using their skills to spot and fix security problems, keeping organizations safe. Black hats, on the other hand, are the bad guys, breaking into systems to steal data, cause damage, or make money illegally. Now that we understand the different types of hackers, let's follow the journey of a vulnerability. It all begins with a white hat discovering a weakness, someone using their skills to find a flaw before it can be exploited. After discovering a vulnerability, the white hat usually reports it to the manufacturer so it can be fixed. The manufacturer develops a patch, often released as a firmware update, to address the issue. At the same time, the white hat publish their findings in a public CVE database. For those unfamiliar, a CVE is a public online catalog of known security vulnerabilities. Each vulnerability gets a unique ID, allowing manufacturers, companies, and security experts to track the issue, apply fixes, and stay protected. These databases are free and accessible to anyone. White hats often publish their findings in a CVE not just to share the vulnerability, but also to gain recognition for their work and strengthen their professional reputation. After a while, the manufacturer releases the firmware update, expecting installers or end users to apply it. Once updated, the vulnerability is resolved. But in the CCTV world, how often are deployed devices actually kept up to date? In many cases, they aren't, leaving them exposed. This is where black hat hackers enter the picture. They scan CVE databases and check devices for updates. If devices haven't been updated, they can be exploited. Even if updated, black hats may look for new vulnerabilities. When they find one with no available fix, it's called a zero-day attack. Enough about the problem. Let's see how we stop it. Checkpoint's solution on our cameras is both unique and highly effective. It's built around two key approaches that work together to keep your devices secure, and I'll take you through each one in detail. The first approach happens before we release a firmware. Checkpoint runs a firmware risk assessment on the firmware itself with two main goals. The first goal is to check for known vulnerabilities, like CVEs, that a hacker could exploit to gain access. They ensure that if any known vulnerabilities are identified, they have been addressed by Provision ISR, so the firmware is safe before it's released. The second goal is to review the firmware for potential weaknesses, including ensuring there aren't hidden passwords or invalid connections, verifying that all communications are properly encrypted, ensuring that sensitive data is protected and access is properly controlled. These checks help make the firmware stronger and harder to attack. By combining both goals, the firmware is protected against known vulnerabilities and potential weaknesses before it ever reaches the consumer, keeping your devices secure from day one. This process works well for the initial stage when the firmware is in development. However, when the firmware is released to market, the device is installed, powered on, and connected to the network, a different kind of approach is needed. This is where the real magic of our collaboration comes in. Embedded directly into the firmware is Checkpoint's real-time IO key protection agent, which protects the device from zero-day attacks. A zero-day attack happens when hackers discover a flaw in a device or software before the manufacturer knows about it and has had a chance to fix it. Since the vulnerability is unknown at the time, it's called a zero-day. Zero-day attack prevention is all about protecting the device even from problems we don't know exist yet. Think of it like a security guard who doesn't just lock the doors, but constantly watches for unusual behavior, like someone trying to sneak in through a window or a side door, and stops it before it causes harm. In other words, even if hackers find a brand new weakness, the device has systems in place to detect and block suspicious activity in real time, keeping your camera safe from attacks from the moment it's powered on and connected.
Bottom line, the difference between our solution and the rest is that while other CCTV manufacturers block known threats, CVEs, they cannot protect against unknown threats once the camera is installed. Check Point believes in this solution so much that it puts its own name on it. Today, Provision ISR products with a security agent proudly carry the Check Point logo on the housing, a seal of trust that highlights both the strength of our partnership and the quality of the protection. Let's quickly take a look at our NVR. On the main Live View interface, you'll notice the Check Point logo. Clicking it confirms that Check Point is active and your NVR is protected. If someone tries to hack your NVR, you can set up real-time notifications, such as audio alerts, an app push notification, alarm outputs, audible buzzer, and more. Here's an example of a hacking attempt on our NVR. If a hacker tries to breach it, the Check Point data agent immediately blocks the attempt and notifies you in real time. You can hear the buzzer and see the text pop up in action. Here's an example of the automated email generated after a cyber event. All cyber events are also recorded in the system log, so you can review them anytime you need. This partnership delivers a level of security and trust you won't find elsewhere in the industry. Thank you for joining us today.